This program is sponsored by Amstel and PlayStation 2, UEFA Champions League sponsors.
Solskjaer, Van Nistelrooy! It's Ruud van Nistelrooy for Manchester United, and still, and it's 2 in a minute and a half! Solskjaer's onside. He's got a lot to do, but it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for Manchester United, and it is 3-1.
Manchester United are in rude health following victory over Bâle in last night's second phase opener. Tonight, Newcastle United and Arsenal kick off their campaigns with an Italian double-header. Inter Milan travel to the northeast in Group A, but our focus is firmly fixed in Rome with Arsenal. Graham and Clive are with me throughout the evening, and welcome to you both. The Gunners are in Group B alongside Ajax, Valencia and tonight's opponents, Roma. In the words of Arsene Wenger, what you have here is the cream of football. And both teams are wounded following domestic defeats at the weekend, but the Champions League and the Olympic Stadium now offer both the chance of a renaissance. It's opening night in Group B. Roma against Arsenal, live from the Italian capital. Kickoff is at 7:45. As always in the Champions League, a multitude of world stars on show. We'll catch up with the team news now. Let me tell you how Arsenal will line up tonight. I can tell you that David Seaman does not play in goal because he aggravated his injury at the weekend, and there is the lineup. It's Henry and Wiltord up front because, of course, Dennis Bergkamp didn't travel. It's Sigon and Campbell at the back. Luzhny has passed a late fitness test and will play at right back, not Moritz Walzer was predicted. And Ljungberg and Pires at both starts, left and right, respectively. This is the Roma side. They'll play a usual 3-4-1-2 formation with Totti playing behind Cassano and Del Vecchio, and the three men at the back will be Zabina, Samuel and Panucci at the back, with Candela going down the left and Cafu, of course, the World Cup winner, a World Cup captain for Brazil, going down the right-hand side. So the second group phase has started with Arsenal going out to the Olympic Stadium in Rome, full of confidence despite a slightly dodgy spell recently, but they will remember how they started the first group phase by winning their opening 3 games. Martin Keown takes a place on the bench tonight, and David Seaman no part at all. Stuart Taylor is on the bench for Arsenal. Graham, what do you make of that Arsenal side? They'll miss, obviously, Bergkamp up front, who didn't travel, but also Seaman in goal.
Well, yes, but I mean, this has happened before. I mean, David has missed games for them, and they've replaced. So I don't see that as a major problem for them. I think it'll be a hard task for them this evening. There's no doubt about that. but I back them to get something out of this game because the Roma side have conceded 16 goals. And I think it's something like 9 or 10 games. That's unusual for an Italian side, and what Arsenal can do, they can score.
Clive, where will be the big battles, do you think, tonight?
Well, I think if Omre's in anything like the form we know he's capable of, then he's sure to cause a threat. Big Samuel at the back, obviously the obstacle that he comes up against. I think Perez being back in the side is a big plus. I think they've eased him back into it. Maybe Arsene Wenger's planned that over the last few weeks to get him back to start tonight. And the central defensive partnership of Campbell and Segon have to be very, very solid, because I wonder if maybe they've watched Arsenal Saturday. They saw how Beattie and Delgado put them under a lot of pressure. And maybe that's why Capello's gone for this particular
And they might
starting.
have a go at Luzhny if they think he's not quite fit?
Quite possibly, yes. And, you know, they will have done their homework. They will have been thorough. And they will be looking for slight kinks in certainly what Arsenal can do.
So there are 2 games for Arsenal before Christmas. The first of them, of course, tonight, and the second one in a fortnight's time at home to Valencia. And Graham, they basically qualified, albeit by not getting enough points, but OK, but they almost qualified by winning their first 3 games in the group.
Well,
first group phase.
You pretty well do that. I mean, it's only Newcastle who've shown that if you lose,
even if you lose,
it doesn't really matter, does it? I think the Arsenal situation really is their home results. They seem to have come to terms now with getting points away from home. And so I think it's very important, these first 2 games for them as they go into the Christmas break. But I think they're capable of progressing.
But Arsene Wenger has said this is the cream of European football in this group, and perhaps the winner of the whole tournament comes out of this group.
Quite possibly, yes, because it is the group of champions apart from Roma, with Valencia and Ajax winning their respective titles. So I think Arsene Wenger certainly won't underestimate any of the teams that are in this group. And he knows it's a big test and a tough start for Arsenal. But also I think he realises if they have a good result or get a good result tonight, that it will set them up nicely for the rest of the game.
Now, of course, Arsenal and Arsene Wenger have their opinions of referees, but it's nothing compared to what's going on in Italy at the moment. Take a look at this. This is a decision which changed Roma's opinion of referees recently. You might think, well, that's a goal kick. It's a game against Inter, and Roma were 2-1 up. And that was given as a corner. That was a goal by Burak Okan in the 87th minute, and Roma were incensed by that. The scenes afterwards went on in the tunnel. They were arguing amongst themselves, the Inter players, and Panucci getting in there, who does have a reputation. And there is also, of course, a conspiracy theory that the Roman sides are not going to be able to win the Serie A title this year. And so they protested to the Italian Federation that the referees are somewhat biased and everyone was against them. Could that only happen in Italy?
Absolutely not. It's a passionate game, isn't it? People love their football, and none more so than the Italians, and they feel they've been hard done by, and on that evidence you have to agree with them.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, tonight's match in Rome is only half of an Italian double-header, and what a second half we have in store. Newcastle United are in the second phase, thanks to that amazing last-gasp goal from Craig Bellamy against Feyenoord. Well, they now face Barcelona, Bayer Leverkusen, and in around 40 minutes' time, Inter Milan. The match is live on ITV2, but we will have half and full-time highlights from St James's Park here on the ITV News channel. Well, let's get a taste of the atmosphere on Tyneside with Ian Payne.
Angus, welcome to the wet and windy northeast. There were times perhaps when we didn't expect to see the Champions League return to St James's Park this season. Newcastle made history by qualifying after losing their opening 3 games. So Bobby has told us that he'll try not to put us through that again. He'd like to make a winning start tonight against Inter Milan. But Bobby told me earlier he knows that Newcastle and Arsenal both face tough Italian opponents this evening.
Inter Milan is a crack Italian team. They didn't win the championship last year. Juventus did, but they were close. We've had them watched twice. We'll have to play well to win. There isn't any doubt about that. We'll have to play to the same quality and the same dimension that we did against Juventus when we, notched that big scalp. This is another one. If we play to a position and a style less than that, we might not win it here on the night. We watched AC Milan beat Inter on Saturday, spent 2 of my scouts to get a double report. And there's no doubt we've got a job on our hands. You know, they've got certain players who are a handful. You know, if we don't handle these players, if we don't handle Vieri and Rakova and Crespo and 1 or 2 others, then we won't handle the game. And if we don't handle the game, we won't win it. You know, Arsenal have Roma to play, and when we watched Inter Milan last week play Roma, the report was, you know, thank heavens we're not playing Roma. You know, to play Inter Milan is enough. So Arsenal have got a tough slot as well. But can we repeat Juventus? Can we repeat again, do it again, how we played against Juventus on that wonderful night here, when it was a major scope and we were better than they were? If we don't, we will go out. It's as simple as that. And I've told the players that. You know, it's black and white.
Always is up there. This is the Newcastle side tonight. Bellamy starts with Shearer. It's Viana, Speed, Dyer and Solano in midfield, but what a test it's going to be for the back four of Griffin, particularly O'Brien and Dabizas, and Hughes on the left-hand side, because this is what they face on the Inter side. Oh, we're not going to say. I can tell you, though, that Vieri and Crespo are up front, and that'll be the biggest test that probably Dabizas and O'Brien have ever faced.
Yeah, I think what's happened at Newcastle over those first 3 games in the Champions League, it was a rude awakening, but what they did in the final 3 games was play the game at their tempo, and in particular, the game I would co-commed on against Juve, fantastic effort, pace, and Juve couldn't settle. They didn't give them the opportunity to play the type of football they wanted. And I'm sure that's exactly what Bobby Robson's going to be saying to his men tonight. If we can play at that pace, even the great Inter Milan are going to struggle to dominate the game, and that's exactly what they need to do.
Graham, have they gone as far as they can, or can they upset the apple cart again?
It's going to be very difficult, because I agree with Clive. They have to play at that tempo, because they can't play any other way. If they attempt to play any other way, they'll get beaten. So I agree totally with what Bobby said about his team.
OK, then, so Inter Milan looking to match the good starts made by their compatriots last evening. Well, coming up next, all the best from Tuesday night. Well, the Roma fans are yet to see a home win in the Champions League this season, and they've only seen 1 home goal. Well, welcome back to coverage of Roma against Arsenal here on the ITV News channel. In a moment, we'll take a look at the action from last night's encounters, but first it's a news update with Leila Del Belge.
Thanks very much, Angus. Well, for the first time today, Gordon Brown, the Iron Chancellor, admitted he had got it wrong and warned of hard times ahead. Britain's economy, he said, will not do anything like as well as he'd predicted. That may mean interest rates rise. It could mean taxes go up. But what is certain is the government will now have to borrow £20 billion this year. That's almost double what the Chancellor announced in the spring. There was a surprise development in the fire strike today. The unions and employers said they will be meeting for more talks on Friday, though hopes of a breakthrough are still slim. And it sounds like the stuff of science fiction or Hollywood, transplanting another person's face onto your own. But plastic surgeons here say it could be reality in less than 2 years. Experts say it's good news for people who've been badly scarred. I'll be back after the final whistle with an update for you, but now back to Angus.
Leila, thanks very much indeed. The last 16 of the Champions League kicked off last evening with some mouth-watering clashes. AC Milan against Real Madrid in a moment, but we begin our roundup in Switzerland as Manchester United took on Basel. Here's Trevor Harris.
History was against Juventus when they went to the Riazor. They hadn't beaten Depor in 4 attempts and hadn't won in Spain for 32 years.
Nice move up from front. It's back towards Juan Capdevila. Ghosting it is Tristan! Deportivo in front through Diego Tristan. And again, involved in everything Deportivo do. Here's Capdevila on the fly again. Oh, it's 2-0. It's Roy Mackay this time. Nedved, again Davids. Little touch to Birindelli.
Just demanding that the ball be given back to him. Birindelli might have eyes for a shot. Oh, what a strike it is! That is a stunning goal from Alessandro Birindelli. Here's Di Vaio. And now Nedved! It's 2-2. So United already 2 points clear in Group D. They entertain Depor in a fortnight's time. These two heavyweights have won the Champions League a staggering 14 times between them, and Milan were the first to threaten. Andrei Shevchenko didn't miss by much. It was only the Ukrainian's second full game in the tournament, and 6 minutes from the break, he sprinted onto Rui Costa's pass to break the deadlock. Real missed several clear-cut chances, but the one that eventually went in didn't count. Not clear whether Pavon or Raul was the culprit, but 5 games without a win now for the holders. So Dortmund and Milan lead the way. They meet next. Real will surely get back to winning ways when Lokomotiv come to the Bernabeu.
Now, the first group phase was pretty good. You can see it's just gone up a notch, even
Absolutely.
after just last night's game.
I think the level's gone up, the quality of goals and movement and passing, exceptional. But that's what it takes at this particular stage.
Insigne is not going to get anywhere near it, but I mean...
See it again, the power and pace on the ball, and then right in that top.
Madrid defence, and you know, Shevchenko is a top quality finisher. Composure, he still, you know, he still has to make sure he finishes it, but he has a little look to see where the keeper is, and a wonderful finish.
3 cracking goals from last night. Well, a great win for Manchester United as they go into Sunday's game against Liverpool. Well, the Reds were, of course, knocked out of this competition by Bale, despite Michael Owen's best efforts. The Reds striker is still the holder of the coveted Ballon d'Or award, presented to him by France Football magazine as the best European footballer of 2001, but not for much longer. Last week, the nominees were announced for this year's award, presented on December the 17th, and Roma and Arsenal have 5 players hoping to claim Owen's title.
And to beat them on their ground, of course, would mean tremendously big for us.
Roma haven't been fantastic at home so far, though, in the competition.
No, but it is a team that has a history who has a history. They have big players, and they are at the moment not doing well in their championship. So I don't think their confidence is at the best at the moment. But as well, you always think that they can react and concentrate very much on the Champions League, because in the Championship it looks nearly to be over for them.
Now you're up against, of course, a very wily old fox, if you like, in Fabio Capello, who's a friend of yours. How do you feel about that test of wits?
Experience-wise, I'm one of those who has more experience than anybody in this league, but I know when you play against Fabio Capello, you have a tough team, physically committed, very well organized defensively, and will try to hit you every time they can. And that's of course down to his experience, to the quality of the players he has, and it makes the game even more interesting and more exciting.
He's been very, very complimentary about Arsenal, saying that you're probably the best team in Europe at the moment. Is that a trick?
It could be tactical.
Dennis Bergkamp has been saying that he feels that people are out to get Arsenal at the moment and knock you off your pedestal. Is that a feeling that's shared among everyone, among the players?
Well, I would say that's a little bit normal. I don't think that we are not paranoid. We don't think there's something orchestrated against us. It's just normal that everybody wants to beat us. And in fairness, it improves our togetherness and our desire to fight to be the best. But that everybody wants to beat us is completely normal, and we know how to cope with that. And even on Saturday, where a few decisions went against us, I still believe that the right attitude is to think, could we win despite all that? And I would say yes, and I would think that the players agree with me.
How much of a burden has it been for Pascal Cygan? You can't really have expected him to be bedded into the team as quickly as he's had to be, could you, when you signed him?
I think he was outstanding since he has come in, yet he made a mistake on Saturday afternoon, but overall he has done fantastically well, has integrated well the team, and it will be a big test for him tomorrow as well, because the first time maybe plays on that level in the second group stage of the Champions League against a big team, and will be a big test, but I think he will do very well.
So Cygan lines up alongside Campbell in the middle of defence. Luzhny, who passed his fitness test, plays at right back with Cole at left back, and the rest of the side really picks itself with Pires and Ljungberg down the sides. He describes Cygan as outstanding, fantastic. How do you think the relationship is working with him and Campbell?
Well, it's a relatively new partnership. I think he came in for his first game against Auxerre, and I thought they played particularly well that night. But they've had one or two little problems, and uncharacteristically, they've only kept 4 clean sheets in 11 games. So I think that highlights one or two of the little problems that they have. They are conceding goals, and they're getting to know one another. I think there's been a little bit of uncertainty. David Seaman has to take his part in the blame in that. But it's very uncharacteristic to see Arsenal opened up time and time again down the middle.
Right through the middle.
These are earlier
Space
group
between
games.
them, Graham.
It does take time to gel, and you're talking about Cygan coming into a different football, a different type of football, and whatever Arsene Wenger says, I think if it hadn't been forced upon him, he would have given him that little bit more time before bringing him into the side.
But he's had to, hasn't he?
Yeah, and in effect, he's handled it as well as one could expect. I mean, I think he has done well from an individual point of view, but getting a combination is slightly different from just your own individual play.
He and Campbell will be up against Totti tonight, who at times is sublime for Roma, isn't he? He just drifts in and out of positions.
He is, and it's the positions that he takes up that's going to cause them to be created.
And what about, there's talk of Gabriel Batistuta. He doesn't start tonight, but he's on the bench, that he would like to play in the Premiership. He's 33 and didn't have a good season in Serie A last year. Is the sort of player you'd like to see in the Premiership, Graham, or do you think, no, we should really stop this out, he's past his sell-by date, we don't want him anymore?
Depends how much money he's asking for. And I wouldn't think it would be a light sum.
I wouldn't have thought so.
I mean, he's got an absolutely amazing goal-scoring record for his Italian clubs. If a firm answer from that, I think at 33, bring him into the Premiership, I think you're taking a risk.
But still, Arsene Wenger says that, you know, that goal that we just saw there when he scored for Fiorentina against Arsenal some 4 years ago, that haunts him. He still has that ability, doesn't he?
Oh, he has ability, and as Graham said, the track record is there for everybody to see. Incredible, 168 goals in 269 games for Fiorentina, and then 30 goals in 57 games for Roma. So you underestimate him at your peril, even at 33, because he knows where the back of the net is.
And he's done that coming off the bench, which he might do later on tonight here as well during the Serie A season. A quick word on whether Arsenal can win tonight. What were they like?
I think basically it will depend how they do cope with Totti. I think that will be the main thing, but I back them to get something out of the game.
OK, at least a draw from Graham. Clive?
I think Arsenal have come a long way. I think it's a big test for them tonight in terms of, realistically, do they have a chance of winning the Champions League? I think they can get something from this game. OK, those are the tips and those are some of the players to watch out for tonight. We're just a few moments away from the Gladiators taking the field in Rome. The first half is coming up next. Don't forget, we'll have highlights at half and full time of the game at St James's Park, Newcastle against Inter Milan. But we're going to concentrate now on Roma against Arsenal and the last thoughts now of Graham and Clive. Graham, where is this one going to be won or lost, do you think?
Well, I said earlier, I think Totti can be a problem.
Totti's a crucial man.
I think Totti is the man that could cause Arsenal the problems and perhaps, you know, get a situation where Arsenal may not get anything out of it. I really think they've got to handle him. If they handle him, I'm confident they'll get something out of the game.
Clive, you've picked out sort of the wing-backs might be quite interesting.
I believe so, yes. I think the game could hinge on how Ashley Cole maybe handles Cafu, who will undoubtedly get forward at every opportunity. And, you know, on the comeback trail, Robert Pires, player of the season last year in the Premiership, I think it's a big night for him, one in which he could star for Arsenal.
Do you think that the Pires and Ljungberg will be trying to draw any shape out of this Capello side that there may be?
Well, I think Ljungberg's run will cause any team any problem at all off that wide position, and it just depends how much he gets tucked back in with Cafu.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Clive. Let's hand over to our commentary team tonight. Ron Atkinson and first Clive Tilsley.
Thank you, Angus. Good evening, everybody. Olympic gold medals, the World Cup, the European Cup itself, they've all been presented and paraded in this famous stadium. Tonight the prize for winning is a fast start in a Champions League group that may well produce the next European champions. Arsenal's Champions League challenge perished in Italy last season, but Roma have gone out of Europe to English opponents in each of the last 3 seasons. Defeat by a single goal would have qualified them for the quarter-finals last spring, but they lost 2-0 at Anfield. A bitter defeat for these players and their fanatical fans to swallow. Beautiful city, a beautiful day for late November, special setting for some of the most special talents in the European game. The second group phase of the Champions League may have established and justified itself just as it's about to be abandoned. This time next year, the last 16 will go into straight knockout mode. The two French and Brazilian friendships being renewed in the handshakes. Roma's injury problems have all but disappeared. This is just one man shy of their first choice lineup, and the return of Francesco Totti to captain and cajole those around him after 3 weeks out has lifted the mood here magically. Ahead of him, the rangy Del Vecchio and the precocious Cassano keep Batistuta and Montella on the bench. Behind the Arsenal defence, a rookie goalkeeper, Rami Shaban, is called upon for a 3rd time because of David Seaman's recurring groin injury. Could have been worse because there was little defensive cover for Oleg Luzhny, who does play despite a hamstring problem. The referee is just 34, but already rich in experience at this level. He's Lubos Michel. Alongside me, 36, but already rich in experience at this level, Ron Atkinson. Fabulous place, says to come and watch football.
Magnificent, yeah, great atmosphere, great support. You mentioned earlier the city's fabulous. some of the greatest games ever been played on this, and it's important that Arsenal, you know, looking at with a rookie goalkeeper, in comparatively rookie goalkeeper, I think it's so important that Campbell and Segon are much more disciplined, particularly Segon, than he was on Saturday. It's important that they don't let the keeper get tested too much too early.
In theory, at least, Roma are the least potent of the four Italian stallions remaining in the competition. Their stingy defence has sprung leaks in the Italian league and left them cast adrift in mid-table. Their expensive attack has failed to give value in the Champions League. But when you've got Batistuta and Montella on the bench, you've got strength in depth. Guardiola there too, another decorated European. This is the standard now. Candidates to be champions of Europe need not apply unless they can live in this kind of company. It's Star Wars from here to the final. Ron, are Arsenal good enough to think about coming here to win a match like this?
Arsenal at their best are good enough to go anywhere and win a game, but I think they've got to make sure that on this particular occasion they don't lose it before they start trying to win it. I think they've got to be very, very tight. They've got to get a grip of Totti. I mean, the talk is all about Francesco Totti playing in the hole behind, but it looks very much as if he's going to play right up the top with maybe Del Vecchio switching to the left-hand side.
This is Arsenal's third successive year in the last 16, but they made a losing start to the second phase, both last season and the season before. And it does become a long, cold winter if you fail to make something out of the two pre-Christmas fixtures. They've thrown out coins in the Trevi Fountain on their behalf this afternoon. It's up to them now. This is Vincent Condola, the French international, on the left flank, linking up with Del Vecchio. On the right flank, number 23, Christian Panucci, current Italian international. Cafu. Unable to link up with Emerson. Pires has started on the left-hand side. Exchanging passes with Henry. Now finding Vieira. Pires was caught after the ball had gone. Some confidence from Segon.
I'm not so sure that Vieira particularly appreciated that pass. I think early on, I don't think it's time for showboating. I think it's early on, it's for time for being solid citizens. They've got the flair of Henry, they've got the flair of Pires, pace of Wiltord. I think they've got to look for the strong men to be really powerful.
And talking of strong men, that's the second time Emerson has caught Pires in the opening moments.
Oh, he'll be targeted, there's no question.
Sol Campbell. Up towards Wiltord. Condola in the way. Turned away by Samuel. One back by Luzhny. Gilberto. Wiltord. Condola is there again. This is the best of passes from Lima to Panucci, but he's survived with the ball.
So the weakness, though, there with Pires. Very half, not much of a challenge on against Panucci.
Cassano brought down. 20 years of age, Antonio Cassano. You may not be as familiar with him as you are with Batistuta and Montella, who are on the bench, but Roma paid a world record £17 million for a teenager. Totti starting to work his magic, and somehow Segal improvised, and the ball is safely in the hands of Rami Shaban, but
Shaban's had a right let-off here. I mean, that's totally inexperienced. He's gone down to feet and he's knocked the ball back into the danger zone. Unfortunately, Segon's challenge is a lot stronger than Cassano's.
Early glimpse of what Totti can do, and maybe an early glimpse of what Shaban can't. Here's Cassano. Totti again. On for Cassano. He's turned Campbell. Oh, it's in a post and just crept in. Just crept in. Arsenal behind inside 4 minutes. Eventually, Antonio Cassano.
I said in the pre-match build-up, Clive, the two centre-halves are vitally important for me. They've been caught square again. The little 1-2s unlocked them. I actually thought when Cassano turned back, he'd give them a chance to get back at him. And, you know, his goal, all right, trickles in there. It hits the post. You think for a minute it's going to go wide the other side. But that's all started from the give and go when the two Arsenal defenders got split.
Well, it was something of a gamble playing Cassano. He is just 20 years of age, and he has had his problems. He's walked out on Roma twice in the last year, walked out on the Italian under-21 team. He is a young man with attitude, but he is a young man with great ability. And Arsenal, with this relatively untried goalkeeper and one or two creaks and aches amongst their defenders, are behind in no time. Vieira, Pires. And what a reply! Thierry Henry makes it 1-1. And Arsenal behind for little more than a minute. The coolest finish imaginable from Thierry Henry.
Where Henry's done particularly well as well, with them playing with three defenders at the back. Henry has this great times you see him do that. Coming in off the left-hand side, from there you bet him money he's going to tuck it past the keeper's left hand, and he does so. Great reply from the Arsenal. Now the defence have got to get themselves on station and start defending properly.
Del Vecchio immediately putting Luzhny under pressure, but what a start in the Olympic Stadium in Rome. Wiltor, forced forward by Gilberto, only as far as Panucci. Seagon with a rather clumsy challenge on Totti. Cole, Henry. Stepped away from Walter Samuel. Sees off Emerson. Still Henry goes on. Marvellous run from Henry. He's looking hot tonight.
That's sometimes been levelled about him, hasn't it, over the last 2 years, that maybe in away games, in top European games, that he hasn't always produced the magical form that he certainly shows in domestic football, but tonight he looks really on fire.
Early goals all round Europe from St James's Park. Newcastle United 0, Inter Milan 1. Morfeo has scored for Inter after just 2 minutes there. Newcastle 0, Inter 1, Roma 1, Arsenal 1. Cassano seeking out Cafu behind Cole. I know it's Arsene Wenger's assertion that the Italian Renaissance in this season's Champions League is a product of a more adventurous approach, a loosening of the tactical chains, if you like. A move away from Catenaccio onto the front foot. And we've certainly had an exhilarating start here in Rome. Space for Cafu. Beautifully found by Candellaro, although his control let him down. And more news from St James's Park. It gets worse for Newcastle, who've had Craig Bellamy sent off there in the opening stages. One down and a man down. Pires. Henry. Gilberto. Wiltor. Well seen by Panucci. Cassano. That's a clever change of direction. Links up with Totti. Cafu would run offside.
There's certainly loads of space behind Arsenal's back line and the goalkeeper, and it's pretty obvious that Roma have done their homework. They exploited it for the goal, and they're looking as often as possible to spin that ball in behind that back line. He's at the hub of everything at the moment, Cassano. Cafu's gone definitely early on that occasion, but I think Arsenal were looking to catch them offside when they conceded the goal.
Oleg Luzhny, who had a big question mark over his inclusion tonight because of a hamstring problem. Rolled into Henry, and he was taken late there. Free kick has been given against Walter Samuel. Wiltor offering himself. Back to Luzhny. Ljungberg. Gilberto. Condola to Del Vecchio. Lima. Emerson. Samuel back to the goalkeeper, who is Francesco Antonioli. Cassano. Del Vecchio. His first touch was a little heavy. Ljungberg. Condola conceding the throw-in. It's less than 6 weeks since Arsenal's unbeatable start to the season encountered Wayne Rooney in the first of 60 feats in that period. Roma have not been in winning form, but their 3-0 mauling in Parma at the weekend was their first loss for 2 months. They had been stubborn this season. Shaban looking long towards Henry. One in the air by Panucci.
Yeah, he's going to give him plenty of attention tonight, Panucci. Particularly because Henry favours coming out on that side, the side where Panucci is. He likes to play on the right-sided defender's shoulder. Interesting, because Panucci doesn't take too many prisoners.
What's also interesting is that Wiltor trying to step away from Samuel. Roma always play with a back three, and it looks more like a 4 tonight, with Cafu here as a out-and-out midfield player. Cross charged down by Cole. Condola is right back there alongside the 2 central defenders.
I think a lot of that, Clive, might be to try and mirror a little bit the way Arsenal are playing, recognising the danger of both of Pires on the left-hand side and Freddie Ljungberg coming in off the right. I think probably when they're playing domestic football, particularly, they're more teams will pack the midfield more in the Serie A, whereas Arsenal is still using their full width.
Henry and Cafu are clashing. Cafu, who made history in the summer, the first man to play in 3 World Cup finals.
I think he's very lucky to get a free kick for that. I don't see much wrong with what Henry did. Cafu playing pushed on and not coming from a deep position should suit Ashley Cole a lot more than he would normally when he comes on blindside ones. There's the goal again. I mean, it trickled for a minute, particularly if you've got Arsenal at heart. You're hoping that it spins past the far post. It's just before that the real problem started.
It's 6 inches out at one stage, isn't it? But it spins back in. But within a minute and a half.
That's a beautiful tuck. That is a beautiful tuck.
Cassano after 4 minutes. Henry inside of 6. Roma 1, Arsenal 1. Cafu lifted the World Cup on Brazil's behalf because his Roma teammate, number 11, Emerson, who was captaining Brazil into the World Cup, was injured in a freak training ground accident just before the finals. And he was doing a bit of amateur goalkeeping and dived and dislocated his shoulder. Missed the finals and the chance to captain his team to victory. And ironically, it was Gilberto Silva who came into the team to take his place. Shaban has had an edgy start. Vieira to Luzhny. Wiltor. Luzhny to bounce back up onto his feet and retain possession. Lima. Finding his fellow countryman Cafu. Panucci.
You talk about formations. The other one that surprised me most is where Totti's playing. He's basically playing right as an out-and-out front player. And maybe Cassano's the one that drops off the play a bit.
Roma have slipped off the pace in the Italian title race with that series of draws. They've conceded a goal or more in every league game to date, and yet in the Champions League, scoring goals has been the headache. Just 3 in the 6 first phase matches. Puzzling return for so much famous firepower, but Totti, amongst others, has been injured.
Every time you talk to somebody that's a Roma fan or whatever, you say, how's Montella doing? Oh, he's had a big problem with the coach. Batistuta, I think's fallen out with the coach. And even Guardiola, we understand, had confrontations with Capello. So he's the sort of fella you don't mess with, apparently.
Henry with a clever flick. Vieira was taken late, but he managed to offload to Cole. Good advantage played. Henry swept in towards Youngberg. Just couldn't quite decide whether to help it on to Wiltor or go on himself. This is Pires with a shot.
Should have done, Clive. A little nudge there, and Wiltor would have been in a great position following some sparkling play from Arsenal. Great build-up play there.
Vieira is back on his feet, having been fouled in that build-up. Panucci. And in the middle of the field, Francesco Totti is holding his face. Doesn't seem to be pointing any fingers at anybody.
I'm not so sure that he may be as Sol Campbell ran past him. Oh, there's a good situation, by the way.
Pires. Wiltor.
Well, the goal steadied them right down, hasn't it? Equalised. He's got them right back in the game, playing with plenty of confidence, plenty of style coming forward. I'm just I'd be a little bit concerned about the amount of space the back four will leave behind them, particularly the 2 central defenders.
Pires. Still hasn't started a Premiership game since recovering his fitness. Seagull into Wiltor. Vieira's gone on. Turned away by Zabina. Flag is up. A little belatedly, not against Cassano, but against Totti beyond him.
Yeah, I think it was a correct decision. By the way, you wouldn't expect Seagun to get beaten too much in the air by Cassano, would you? Looking at the way they size up to each other.
Cole caught out of position now after that burst forward, and Cafu looks for Totti. It is 18 days since Francesco Totti last played. He's been out with a knee problem. Restricted him to just 9 matches for Roma so far this season, and those 9 matches have produced 9 goals.
Very surprised the way he's lined up, though, playing right up front, and Del Vecchio is virtually playing as an orthodox left winger.
Here is Totti, slipped into the path of Cafu. Cross charged down by Pires, poked in again. Seagon deals with it this time. Panucci with a quick throw. Had a Capello's eye view of the action there for a moment. The Roma coach, who has labelled Arsenal the strongest team in Europe coming into this match. Beware Italians bearing pre-match compliments. But they're breaking well here, with Henry finding Vieira, who is impeded by Lima and has won a free kick.
I think Lima's done him a favour, actually. I think Big Patrick, just his first touch wasn't quite what he'd wanted. He's knocked it too far over his feet. Unfortunately for him, I think that Arsenal have been able to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, Vieira claiming that that foul checked the momentum of the move. Whether he'd been able to reach the ball in order to pick the pass that he wanted is another matter. As it is, there are 10 Roma men goal side now. Pires. That's a super pass towards Cole on the burst. Samuel comes across. Their paths crossed during the World Cup finals. Ashley Cole and number 19, Walter Samuel, who was Argentina's World Cup centre-back in the Far East. Cole again. Emerson only for Henry. Encouraging Gilberto to get forward. He looks over his shoulder for Luzhny. Vieira. Starts a little bit too much of Youngberg. Given back to Arsenal, though. Wiltor. Lovely fluency and interchange about Arsenal's attacking unit.
Yeah, the good players have settled in very well, the attack-minded, the offensive players. I certainly think if Totti dropped off into the position where we normally associate him, playing off the front two, he would give Arsenal far more problems. When he pushes right up against Campbell, Campbell's happy with that. It's when he drops off and then he's got to bring Vieira into deeper positions.
Totti doing just that and trying to play Del Vecchio in. Here is Vieira.
See, at the moment, Vieira's gone very, very attack-minded.
Here is to Wiltor, and Vieira underlining that with another charge forward, and actually Cone is beyond him, but offside, unfortunately. A real zest and zip about Arsenal going forward. They have quite literally fought fire with fire here, behind in 4 minutes to Cassano's goal. Immediately level, and they've gone on from there, carrying the game to Roma.
I think it's helped them as well, the way Roma have tactically tried to mirror them. I think if Roma had stuck to their own normal formation, that might have posed Arsenal, made Arsenal think more about it. But now they're just like for like, and Arsenal can just set about playing their own game. I mean, you would imagine before the kick-off they were saying, look, if Totti drops off the front, who's going to pick him up? Gilberto, is Vieira going to get round him? Or should we push somebody in from the back, which you can't really do?
Samuel only as far as Ljungberg. Del Vecchio intervening, but Arsenal have it back again with Thierry Henry. Slipped in Wiltor just offside. Advantage played with Roma in possession. Lima given away rather tamely to Ljungberg, and this massive crowd now starting to feel a little uneasy about the performance their team are producing, and Gilberto has linked with Ljungberg, and Gilberto's gone on, and it might come out for Pires of Antonioli. So Roma survive.
Well, Gilberto was the creator and of that particular move. I just wonder if he'd have gone a little bit more at the near post with a little bit more belief, if you like, whether he could have got there before the goalkeeper. He drove forward, he set the ball out to Ljungberg, he's carried on his run. Now it's there that I just wonder if he'd have attacked him across the line of the keeper, whether he could have just got there first. Fortunately as well for Roma that the keeper's parry hasn't fallen into something like Henry or Wiltor. Certainly at the moment, Roma for me are rocking. Arsenal's top players are dominating the game at the moment.
Panucci, Cassano. Totti is offside. Don't think that he would have reached Cassano's pass anyway, as it happened.
Yeah, he's off. He's off. Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's off.
Roma collected just 2 points from their 3 first phase games here at the Olympic Stadium. And Arsenal have been travelling with more hope and expectation this season, thanks to their successes in Eindhoven and Auxerre. They have a half-decent record in Italy. Henry on towards Ljungberg. Condola went back with him. Panucci. Driven up towards Totti, dealt with by Seagull. Gilberto. Henry to Wiltor. Now Vieira. Pires. Forced on again to Sylvain Wiltor. Managed to protect the ball from Jonathan Zabina. Promising start for Arsene Wenger, who has said that the 2 teams that emerged from this group can beat anyone. He's got Valencia at Highbury in a fortnight's time, underlining the quality of the section. Cafu seeking out Totti. Seagull is there. Shaban has had a chance now to settle and get that rather squeaky start out of his system.
As I say, if I was Arsene Wenger sitting there, the only thing that would concern me is whether they can cause you a threat through the middle of the defence. Certainly we've seen nothing from Cafu out on the right. I think playing as an orthodox right winger or right-sided midfield player doesn't suit him. And Del Vecchio has absolutely at the moment no contribution to the game whatsoever. They've attacked not at all from the wide areas. And I always picture Del Vecchio as one of those strong centre forwards that hunts and puts defenders about. At the moment, he just seems as if he's wasted at the left-hand side.
Samuel. Panucci. Perez going back with him, but not halting Christian Panucci's run. He swept away from Cole and hits a shot which is deflected wide for a corner, and Shaban was wrong-footed by the deflection. Panucci trying to force the issue.
Yeah, good driving run from Panucci. Drove infield, ignored the ball out to Cafu on the right. Well, I'm not sure Cafu could have done too much about that.
Condola. Totti. Back to Condola. Cassano looking to set up Totti, who goes to ground under pressure from Ljungberg's challenge. Nothing doing.
Clive, out of everybody, and there's all these Romans in here, for them there's no question it's a penalty. The referee is in the best place out of anybody there.
Plenty going on inevitably elsewhere in the penalty area, but the big shout was this one, and Totti just dived.
Dived, he swam there.
Remember that when he was sent off during that defeat by South Korea in the World Cup final, second yellow card, diving. Not quite sure why the extra pass to Totti was necessary from Cassano, but Emerson. Lima. Usually just looking to shepherd the ball out of play initially, but in the end withstands Totti's attentions and clears. Cafu tiptoeing forward on the near side. He's got beyond Cole. Segon didn't quite make the contact he wanted. Cafu hooks in across, but Gilberto deals with it very tidily. Vieira to Wiltor. Henry. A real presence about Thierry Henry. Ljungberg asked a lot of Luzhny, stampeding forward. Condola just kept the ball in play. Campbell's header. Emerson. Totti, unable to spin away from Ljungberg, who gets it back from Gilberto. Looks to play Wiltor in. Panucci. It's a good run by Cafu. He's got on the dangerous side of Cole again. Useful cross to Campbell, couldn't get it out. Totti off the line by Segal, miraculously. Wonderful goal line clearance by Pascal Segal to deny Francesco Totti. And here's Vieira trying to release Thierry Henry. How did he do that?
Well, it's magnificent. Good balling from Cafu. Campbell's got under the ball. I thought for all the world in, that's hit the back of the net and out. And how he's got back in there. Segon, he didn't have the best of matches Saturday, but that is a wonderful recovery. That's as good a piece of defensive play as you will see. But the alarm bells once again. How did Sol Campbell get caught under the ball when somebody like Totti in the middle?
And how did Cafu get beyond Cole, which he's done yet again here? But Arsenal have had most of this first half hour the way that they would want it, but they've had a couple of big reminders. Luzhny away. Another alarm call for them after the shock of conceding the opening goal. And Roma have the wind in their sails at last. Lima. Totti. Cassano taking it on. Campbell did well that time. Out comes Shaban. Again, a big penalty shout, but I don't think there's any doubt that Sol Campbell got a foot on the ball. Cassano's turn to go to ground. It was more of a shout, but I think he got the ball wrong.
Yeah, and I tell you what, once again, this fella, you know, whether it's coincidence, he's once more within 5 yards of the incident. But that is some football moments. For all the world as well, you know, he's had the presence of mind to make sure his body's turned square onto the shot from Totti, Segon. Could quite easily have deflected. You couldn't have blamed him then if he'd taken deflection and gone into the net of him.
Arsenal just need to give the game a little time out here because Roma are growing as a force in the match. This is Emerson looking for Totti. Seagon comes across and Totti has been penalised. Just barged into Seagon there.
It's funny how things I've got this theory about little moments changing matches. This pressure that Roma are building up all seems to have stemmed from when Panucci went off on that run. He can't have any complaint at all, Totti, there. He's one of those sometimes you think if you're a defender you could do it to give him a good smack. You know, he's a little irritant. He's a wonderful player when he's allowed to be.
Ljungberg into Henry. Freddie Ljungberg looks to get it back, but Condola clears. Emerson to Del Vecchio. Lima. Emerson. Panucci.
Yeah, he started to come forward a lot now. He's showing out for the passes, Panucci.
Totti trying a little flick.
I think what he wants to do is try and make Pires defend.
Cafu penalised. Foot was high. Arsenal have got a strong referee in charge here tonight. Rubos Michel, who took charge of a semi-final in the competition last season, in fact the one in which Leverkusen drew at Old Trafford.
He'll have to hold his nerve though, Clive. I mean, if there's another little incident in the penalty box where there's half a chance of a penalty, you just wonder whether he might go law of averages.
Henry protects the ball well and finds Vieira. Gilberto to Pires. Gets it back from Wiltor. Wins a free kick from Panucci. He was a Chelsea player this time 2 years ago. Although you didn't have to blink your eyes to see him go. He only stayed for 4 months. He played against Arsenal just before Gianluca Vialli left the club. And has followed Capello around Europe with Milan and Real Madrid. And a couple of European Cups along the way too, Christian Panucci. Pires. That by Panucci. Lima taking a chance, surrounded by blue Arsenal shirts, but finding a way out of the cul-de-sac. Cassano. Slipped through. Totti is offside. The flag was late, and it is up. And he was offside.
I think it's a little bit chancy, that. I don't like to see that one, particularly when there's no pressure on the ball. I mean, I think Totti probably not used to being an out-and-out front player, get himself into several offside positions, but you can't believe your luck's going to hold out all the while. Sooner or later he's going to delay his run.
Wiltor. Henry. That's a lovely return pass. Condola hasn't quite got the job done, but goalkeeper confident enough to collect the ball. A double helping of Premiership football on ITV this coming weekend. On Saturday, as usual, the Premiership is at 10:30. Arsenal themselves feature against Graham Taylor's Aston Villa. And then on Sunday, we have an extra programme at 6:30. 6:30 on Sunday, Premiership highlights with Liverpool versus Manchester United, the star attraction. That's this coming weekend on ITV1. Full details on all our programmes on our website, itv.com/football. Still Newcastle United 0, Inter Milan 1 at St James's Park, with Craig Bellamy, who was sent off early in the piece. Still 1-1 here, where both the goals came in the opening 6 minutes. Totti, Del Vecchio coming in off his flank. Cafu, no flag this time. Chance to steady himself and pick across. Only Cassano in the centre. Turned away by Gilberto. But the Roma attack was undermanned.
Yeah, that attack, Sol Campbell stayed in, playing Cafu onside.
Lima. Samuel to Panucci. Zabina. Slip through to Cassano, who's able to turn away from Campbell. Seagull recovers well. Shaban goes down and collects the ball, having had it steered back to him by Pascal Seagull. Just for a moment, he seemed to be caught on the back foot there, the Arsenal goalkeeper. I wondered if he was going to get to it for a second. Wiltor. Strong challenge by Samuel. Cafu to Cassano. Totti. Spun away from Campbell. Fed it into Cafu. There'll be a pass too many. Del Vecchio was coming in. Cafu may have had a shooting opportunity there. It's a goal kick.
No, I think it's just wide, too wide an angle. I think he's just played a gambler's ball there. He's played it across. I think it might have been blocked up. He's gambled on Del Vecchio doing a natural striking role. You would have expected Del Vecchio to be trying to cover that far post. But certainly it all emanates from that for me. That emanates from that running shot from Panucci. That's given Roma a far greater belief in the game.
Roma, to their surprise, have a corner. Away by Vieira. More news from St James's Park. Newcastle United 0, Inter Milan 2. Almeida has added to Morfio's early goal, and don't forget Newcastle have been playing without Craig Bellamy from the early stages of that game, red carded. Newcastle 0, Inter Milan 2. Berg was courageous there, but free kick has gone against Pires. Cassano. Lima. Vieira. Showed a little bit too much of that to Emerson. Wiltor though. Ljungberg. It's nicely played for Luzhny, who has Henry out to his right. Henry making ground so quickly and then picking out Pires. Tried to show it one way and go past Cafu the other, but the Brazilian world captain knew a bit too much.
Very surprised at Pires, and I thought when Henry played him that ball, that he just knocked it out of his feet and got as close to goal as he could have done. I don't think there was any need to dwell on it.
Seagull's foul on Totti. Totti on the ball. Nobody ahead of him. Nobody other than blue-shirted Arsenal defenders, and he ran into Seagull there after the ball had gone. And that one is developing. He can do no wrong here. He was a boyhood fan of Roma. He is now the captain of the club. Captain in their title-winning season of 2001. They worship the ground on which he walks. Gilberto. Wiltor. It's run free for Vieira. Henry, well challenged though by Panucci. Vieira has won it back strongly. Jumping into Emerson though and conceding a free kick. Roma have improved as the half has gone on. There was a period after they'd equalised when Arsenal were having things pretty much their own way.
Yeah, if anything, they've had 2 or 3 of the better opportunities. That magnificent save of Sigons off the line from Totti, and 1 or 2 near misses. Arsenal have played a lot of what looks very promising football, but yet a lot of it's broke down in the last third of the pitch.
Lost some of their early thrust, maybe. Here's Luzhny looking for Henry. Turned away by Zabina. Lima and Emerson are starting to see more of the ball in midfield. Totti had made a run from way out. Cafu was the man running on the near side. I don't think he was offside, but Totti was yards and yards off. Well, he was eventually. He was claiming he was going to leave it for Cafu, but the assistant had to flag. Gilberto, Ljungberg. Brought down by Walter Samuel. He would have felt that. It was a strong arm and hopelessly mistimed challenge by the Argentine, and the referee's card is out.
Deservedly so.
Capello, who lives every second of these matches, has the most impeccable European Cup credentials. He played in a final for Juventus. He coached Milan to 3 successive finals. Campbell is forward here. It's in towards Vieira, but the header, I think, was by Gilberto.
It's a miss. That's a big miss, Clive, that. He's got in there, you're right. I think Vieira could have picked it. Full marks to the lad for getting in there, but once he's headed, it's... I mean, the theory is head it down, but you don't normally head it down and then it bounces over the bar. But I think that's one he should have been looking for, the bottom of the net.
I think he was fouled by Patrick Vieira. It was a push in the back there because Vieira was so determined to reach it himself. They both got into a good position. Flag is up against Henry. Gilberto has shown that eye for goal in Eindhoven and Auxerre. Lima, Emerson. Condala, Del Vecchio. Turned away by Luzhny, only as far as Cassano. It was well for Arsenal that he lost his footing there. Condala taking it on. Lifted into Totti. Oh, clever ball through towards Cassano, but it was Pires who was back there. And Arsenal have got men here in the counter, and Vieira is almost spoiled for choice left and right. Henry taking over. Roma have managed to recover some cover. Henry in towards Pires. Condala just got a foot on the ball. Roma's turn to attack with Emerson. Totti. Reverse ball meant for Cassano. Campbell decides to deal with it himself with his keeper off limits. Given away by Emerson to Pires. Here's Henry. There go the burners. Zabina had a start. And that pace frightens opponents.
It's priceless. I mean, he realised then the odds were stacked against him, but he's made good ground for his team. Got him a throw-in the top half of the field.
Michael Owen, no less, the reigning European Footballer of the Year, has suggested that Thierry Henry would be a fitting successor. Owen, who scored twice for Liverpool on this ground a couple of seasons ago against Roma. Cole's cross charged down by Emerson. Clever interchange between Henry and Cole has earned Arsenal a corner. Which, as usual, Henry himself will take. Both Sigons and Campbell are forward for this one. Punched by Antonioli. Vieira was underneath it, he just got a nudge. Gilberto trying to hook it forward. But the free kick has gone Roma's way. Last season was Roma's first in the Champions League. They arrived at Anfield in March, only a point away from the quarter-finals, but lost 2-0. This is Arsenal's 5th attempt, 2 first phase failures, then the last 8 in 2001. So last season's exit at this stage was a step in the wrong direction. There will only be 1 added minute. Time for Ron to give his assessment of Arsenal's showing in this first period.
I think they've looked very promising coming forward, particularly when their attacking players come forward. I'm just worried a little bit about whether they're leaving too much space in the middle of the defence. They're encouraging, they've caught Roma offside once or twice, but I think they're encouraging the Roma players to sort of look for give and goes and to make runs in behind. I mean, Totti's helping a lot because he keeps getting offside too early.
Cassano. Cafu is offside this time. In a good contest between Cafu and Cole. 11 years between them. And that time maybe a foot of daylight which caught out Cafu. Sensational start to the match. 2 goals in the opening 6 minutes. Cassano dribbling one in for Roma off a post. Thierry Henry sliding one in reply. The half-time scoreline here in the Olympic Stadium as we remind ourselves of how those goals came about. Firstly from Antonio Cassano, and then from Thierry Henry. The half-time scoreline here in the Olympic Stadium is Roma 1, Arsenal 1.
So it's delicately poised in Rome. Thierry Henry levels in Italy, but by contrast, Craig Bellamy's night is over. He's off again. Highlights in a moment. It's 1-1, Roma against Arsenal. The other game in Group B is goalless at the moment between Valencia and Ajax. The Roma game against Arsenal had a little bit of everything, hasn't it, Graham?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the way that it started, and certainly when Roma scored, you're thinking, well, you're going to have your hands full, Arsenal. But a tremendous equaliser by Henry. But the actual first goal by Roma, the ball's played through there. It's a dive in there and you don't win it, which, you know, and then the runner's not, as the ball is played through, he's not picked up. He's not picked up. It was unlike them. You think he's delayed it so long that he's missed his chance. Might have got a deflection off Sol Campbell, I'm not certain. But the keeper got a little touch to it that would have put the spin on it. And you think they've got away with it, but there's the spin on the ball, and in she goes. And you're thinking, well, what a start that is for Roma, and it's going to be difficult for Arsenal.
But where they were at fault there, Sigon was exceptional here.
First class, but his covering was excellent. He took the position. It's a first-class piece of defending. I think individually he's had an excellent game, Sigan. I think he's done very, very well, but that's absolutely right. He should have gone into that position, but to actually stop it, he's done very, very well.
And Henry, for you, he's had a great first half and got that equaliser very quickly.
Yeah, and it was the perfect response because it looked as if they were certainly going to be a hard. It went 1-0. I thought they had their best period then for about 10 minutes as well. So, as you say, it's a game that has had everything. It's swung, and I'm sure there's many more twists yet.
Yeah, well, it's had a few twists, hasn't it? There's a few moments of controversy, a few nasty moments as well.
I think you're always going to get those, you know, I mean,
in the Olympic Stadium in Rome, aren't you? Yeah.
Certainly, you know, there's a few emotions there, but it has in many respects. The other situation, yeah, I mean, it is just cheating.
Yeah,
pure cheating from Totti.
That's what it is. I mean, people say that's diving, that's cheating.
But then Lushni's got a good hand on Del Vecchio.
Yeah, and
it's normally after the game that they swap shots.
Now this, I think that was a penalty, to tell you the truth, because Solas dived in there, gone to ground, made no contact with the ball at all, and the ball's been pulled back on him. And I think he had a justifiable chance of a penalty there.
What do you think of Totti's position? Ron's been slightly incredulous about the fact that he's sort of playing so far up front. Do you think they?
I think maybe, you know, there was a little bit of psychology between the managers in respect that Cabello didn't play Totti in a position that maybe he thought Wenger was, and it's made for a certainly interesting first half. He's gone and played right on the front line. He's got caught offside a number of times, but he is still a problem. Cassano is the one, though, I think, because he's being the elusive one. De Vecchio's gone and played almost in a wider left position, and I think it's just unsettled Arsenal because they're not quite sure who they should be picking up.
All right, Clive, thanks. Well, who can forget Newcastle United's last outing in the Champions League? Their last gasp victory over Feyenoord brings Inter Milan to St James's Park this evening. Well, with the best of the first half action, here's Peter Drury and David Pleat.
Okan of Turkey. Zanetti has got away from his full-back and has delivered, and Crespo let it go, and Newcastle are behind to Morfeo after 65 seconds.
The linesman's drawn attention to a clash between Bellamy and I think it was Materazzi. I think we would refer to it in England as a little bit of handbags, but oh, he's given the red card to Bellamy. Dear me.
Craig Bellamy has been sent off. Shearer with Cannavaro, Davies is forward, O'Brien's forward, Solano's lifted it in. There's a lot of pushing and shoving inside the box. The inference is that Cannavaro perhaps went down without being helped by Shearer. He was helped on his way down by Shearer. Newcastle's evening is in the hands, the pocket and the notebook of Stefan Bray. He's chosen to take no further action. It's Emery's corner. Against the post! Was it from Almeida? Oh, what a hit! Matias Almeida with a fantastic goal for Inter Milan. Oh, Okan slipped too easily away from the fullback, and Okan plays it in, and Inter lead 3-0. It is, of course, Hernan Crespo.
Just before half-time, so that is the half-time score. Newcastle 0, down to 10 men, Inter Milan 3. And in the other game in Group A, Bayer Leverkusen lead Barcelona, who had a perfect record before tonight, by a single goal to nil. Newcastle can't get back from this. I mean, Bellamy, it looks like, had to go, but there is a suggestion that he received a slap, as it were, beforehand, before he retaliated.
I think if you see it closely, he does.
Materazzi, isn't
yeah,
it? Just
Materazzi.
I think it's just a little slap with the right hand.
Yeah, in it
there
goes.
It goes.
Now, what I would say, this isn't a defence of Craig Bellamy, because now Craig Bellamy, because what he did was wrong, but Craig Bellamy could have gone to the ground then.
Yes.
And we might have seen the other fella coming off. There's a different culture here. We saw it later on with the shirt pulling and all of that goes on, and he's a little bit lucky because he throws his elbow all the way round.
I mean, Shearer's hit there, hasn't he?
And the problem here, of course, is that UEFA look at these incidents later on.
Well, that's exactly what happened to Craig Bellamy in the incident in the Ukraine, wasn't it?
That's right, yes, and he suffered a 3-match ban from that. Violent conduct once again, and you know, you talk about him learning his lesson. He's reacted, yes, Materazzi, he may well think, it's Craig Bellamy, you know, I'll wind him up, and all of a sudden he's got that reaction, and it's killed the night for Newcastle because there's no way back now.
But brilliant one moment, Craig Bellamy, instrumental in then them getting through to the second group phase, and then so frustrating the next minute.
Look, you saw the boy when he's coming off, and you may think that I'm defending. I just don't defend throwing punches. But having said that, the boy has reacted to something where he's been hit. The first time, if he had fallen down and gone and that, then we would have seen the Italian player being sent off. Now, there's no excuse, I know, for retaliation in that way, but he does do, and the Italian player goes down, and he's absolutely sick. The boy doesn't know, you know, when he's coming off, so I am defending him slightly here.
All right, Graham, but they are trailing by 3-0. But in Rome, it's 1 apiece, thanks to him. Is not over yet by a long chalk. Back to the Olympic Stadium in Rome very shortly, but just before we go, Graham, this one could go either way, couldn't it?
Well, very much so, isn't it? I mean, as I said at the start, I think Arsenal are capable of getting something out of it, and I still believe that. It'd be very interesting if Totti's position does alter in the second half. Now that he's shown his hand in the first half, will he alter it?
OK, Graham, thanks very much. Let's get back to Ron.
Nobody more patriotic than Graham Taylor, but he wouldn't mind seeing a odd bump or bruise coming Arsenal's way, just because their next opponents are Aston Villa on Saturday. Improving Aston Villa. No half-time changes here. Incredibly, Italy has not had a single Champions League quarter-finalist in either of the last 2 seasons. And not since Juventus won in 1996 has the European Cup resided in Italy. But all 4 contenders have qualified for the last 16 this time. Early offside against Cafu.
It's a tight one, that, but they're looking to try and spin everything in behind the Arsenal defence, every opportunity. He's gone early, lines are spot on.
Roma would have won their opening phase group, Real Madrid's group, but for conceding a late equaliser to AEK Athens here in the final game a fortnight ago. As it was, they had to sweat through stoppage time then on qualification. Arsenal did win their group, despite taking just 1 point from the last 3 games. But certainly coming forward, they've looked something close to their best tonight. Ljungberg to Wiltord. He was clipped and has won a free kick. The SU, Walter Samuel, who was yellow carded just before half-time. Seagull and Campbell have joined Vieira and Gilberto at the far post. It's Thierry Henry's free kick. It's towards Sol Campbell. There's an awful lot of shirt pulling going on. Vieira felt that he was impeded. He was certainly having his shirt tucked. Campbell managed to make some kind of contact.
Well, good one for the ref there. It's a foul. I think could conceivably have given a penalty for what was going on with Vieira.
Sven is here with Nancy. Very familiar city for the England coach, former Lazio manager. Del Vecchio. Strong challenge by Campbell, who will miss the match against Manchester United as a result of his dismissal last weekend. Emerson. Cafu. It's a clever little flick from Ljungberg. Usually bursting forward, as we used to see him as the Dynamo Kiev skipper in their Champions League run. He went all the way to the semi-final in 1999. He has bags of experience at this level. Wiltord to Ljungberg. Ljungberg just lost his balance as he was buffeted by Condola. Zabina taking a chance.
Looking at Freddie Ljungberg as well, we see so much of those darting little runs he makes into the box, you know, and I think you do not miss the fact that Bergkamp's not playing. I mean, he seems to have that telepathy with Bergkamp that he knows exactly where Bergkamp's going to play the ball, and he gets those priceless goals. At the moment, he's playing very much as an orthodox right-hand side midfield player.
Bergkamp would certainly be able to travel to Amsterdam for a reunion with Ajax. Whether he would go all the way down to Spain by road, fancy would depend on Arsenal's situation when they have to take on Valencia away in the new year. But he is officially injured at the moment, Bergkamp. Campbell. Henry. Free kick given in Wiltord's favour. Francis Jeffers and Gio van Bronckhorst amongst the Arsenal substitutes. It was Zabina who caught Wiltor. Plenty of those from Totti in the course of a match. No free kick for Wiltor this time. Given away by Emerson, but handball against Pires. Scored a smashing goal here for Arsenal 2 years ago against Lazio. Pires as a substitute. Interesting that Arsenal were without David Seaman that night. John Lukic was pressed into service in goal because of a Seaman injury. Lindbergh held up by Samuel. Totti's first touch heavy and then his challenge heavy.
Not so sure whether Freddie's quite as effective on the right-hand side. I mean, he's obviously playing out there to accommodate Pires. I think he's more effective when he's coming off that left-hand side.
This is Wiltor. And now Vieira. Here is Ljungberg. Not an Arsenal player anywhere near the penalty area, but they'll work their way in. Henry has drifted deep. Feeds Cole. Now Vieira. Pires. Cole. Just opened up there for a moment. Henry trying to play Pires in. Nice idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, a bit heavy with his touch. But they've come out second half, and it looks as if Arsene Wenger said to them, keep the ball, make them chase the ball.
To the point where Roma are already considering a change. Luzhny. Henry let it run. He was a little unlucky. Ball bisected Ljungberg and Wiltor beyond him. Zabina to Totti. Condala. Cassano. Ran into Oleg Luzhny, who emerges from the collision with the throw-in. Sano versus Gilberto. Free kick is Arsenal's.
Good strength there from Gilberto, though. Made up the ground, got in front of Cassano. He looks one of those players, doesn't he? I mean, he's done the lot World Cup, albeit at the expense of Emerson. But he looks one of those players that you could lay your life on.
Sol Campbell. Patrick Vieira. Pires to Siegel. Good movement by Vieira, creating this space for Robert Pires. Now into the path of Sylvain Wiltor. Wiltor's shot is a little wild, and he's hearing from Ljungberg and Henry, who are well placed.
I mean, Arsenal are one of those sides, probably unusual, you know, in English domestic football, that don't always fire from the edge of the box. They tend as well to play the way in. They'll go as close as they like to go, playing passes in. That's a very poor header.
Siegel only as far as Del Vecchio, on by Totti. Cassano can't reach it because of Campbell. Ljungberg.
What had happened on that previous attack that Ljungberg was having a little blow at Wiltor was he'd made probably the first diagonal run he'd made into the box.
But Arsenal have almost a measure of control here. And watch their step there between Cole and Siegel. The match being played pretty much their way. They had 50% to the first half possession, and they've started with a lot of the ball in this second period. Totti, though, slipped into the path of Cafu. Into Cassano, cut out brilliantly by Sol Campbell, but they were undone there. Campbell managed to shut the door in Roma's faces.
Yeah, what he's done there, I wondered whether he'd attacked that. I was watching Campbell as the move was developing. He's attacked the space the striker wants to attack it.
Always became a little casual there, Arsenal. Cafu's corner, headed away by Henry. Condola, dicked on by Totti. Del Vecchio trying to control it. Cole hooked it away. Pires flicks it away. Youngberg can bring it away. Wiltor. Now Cole joining in. He has Henry wide of him. Cole has gone on into the box where Wiltor waits too. This is Ashley Cole. Goal kick has been given as Francisco Lima came across. This was the attack at the other end, and Cole it was. Effective in both penalty areas in quick succession. Cassano, Panucci. Seagon in the way this time. And the hands that went to Panucci's head suggested that he almost executed the pass he was looking for. Vieira to Seagon. Henry played a 1-2 of Samuel. And now Wiltor and Henry. Well, he has a lovely loose slide style. Most of the time it is class epitomised, but when one goes wrong, it does look loose and careless.
I'm still not convinced whether he was trying to play a 1-2 with Wiltor to lob the keeper. That's not a surprise, by the way.
Del Vecchio replaced by Gianni Guigu, the Uruguayan World Cup midfield player, who is generally a substitute for Roma. Did play at Parma in the Serie A defeat at the weekend. Has had only 40 minutes of Champions League football this season. But he is a midfield player by trade, whereas Del Vecchio is an occasional midfield player.
Well, I thought he was a wasted player tonight, Del Vecchio.
Panucci has wasted the ball here, giving it to Pires. Henry. Right the challenge from Guigu. Only as far as Cole. Pires. Youngberg allowed to turn. Tried to slip it into the path of Henry. Condola was there. Cassano looking to peel away from Luzhny. Easier said than done. Just a little bit of showboating there from Henry, which was unnecessary. But it is a sign that Arsenal know they belong on these stages and they fancy their chances in this competition this year. There's no doubt about that.
Well, they more than belong. I mean, their attacking play and midfield play is as good as most you see in the tournament. I do have that, if I have a doubt, it's about the defensive qualities of the side. Particularly as well, you know, since Gilberto came into the side, this fellow, Patrick Vieira, has become a much more attacking-minded player.
With a smack across the back of the head then.
The big fellow, he'll be all right. He'll come back from that. Take more than that to knock him down.
There was a time when he might just have been looking for who that was and thinking retribution.
He might still be, but he might be doing it in a more cunning manner. That's what they used to say, the old pros. Bide your time and get them when it suits you.
There's a return at Highbury in the new year.
I meant in the next 5 minutes.
Emerson.
No, I mean, he's developed, hasn't he, going back to Vieira? He's developed from, like, virtually, he was the midfield minder for a long period, sitting in front of the back four, and now with, as I say, with the advent of Gilberto, he gets forward an awful lot more.
Quite hampered for Totti there. Pires emerges with the ball skillfully.
He's getting nearer and nearer back to his form, isn't he, Pires?
Vieira to Henry. Youngberg has made his diagonal run. Henry's pass just misplaced. Game is pretty open again now. We're now gone. Arsenal have every right to sense that it is theirs for the winning, but they really would kick themselves if they lost it now. Cafu in towards Totti, who was hauling Campbell to the ground.
He's done Arsenal a favour by doing that. They got men over coming in round the back. Cassano was looking for anything that fell. He's defended his goal. He's defended the Arsenal goal well there.
He is a rather tetchy character. That is part of his makeup, but I just wonder if he's short of that true match fitness, having been out of action for 3 weeks and intermittently before that with knee problems this season. It's almost as if his body won't quite do everything that his brain is telling it to. Wiltor steps away from Zabina, but into Lima. Vieira. Wiltor. Henry. Squeezing the pass out for Ljungberg. Luzhny. Perez has come looking for the ball this time. Campbell to Siegel. Lifted into Vieira. Found the outlet in Ljungberg. Looking to go on the outside of Condolar, who has just tripped. Seems to have missed the French boat, Vincent Condolar, because Vicente Lizarazu has been injured for the early part of the season, but Condolar, his long-time understudy, is missing out now to Mikel Silvestre, who seems to be the first-choice French left-back.
You look at Condolar, I don't think he's one of those that should always have played right full-back, and yet he has the same problem there in the national team, didn't he? Thuram's had that position sewn up for years. So whilst he's been a regular here and played for many, many years now in Serie A, his path in the national team's been barred by top-class players. Oh, he's tugged his shirt there.
Vieira trying to loft it into the path of Henry. Talking of top-class Frenchmen, headed away by their fellow countryman Zabina. That's a searching pass. Cassano won't quite reach it. It is still goalless in the other match in this group between Valencia and Ajax tonight, so all square in this group. Newcastle trail 3-0 at home to Inter Milan and have been down to 10 men since the early stages, having had Craig Bellamy sent off. Foul by Lima. Nothing too special at the heart of this Roma midfield. Lima and Emerson have been workmanlike.
Been ordinary, haven't they? Yeah, from a sort of viewpoint.
Slipped by Campbell, and here's Totti. And Guigu, the substitute, is here, and Shaban didn't reach it. Now, what's the referee given? Corner. Guigu was looking for rather more. I think he was there ahead of Shaban. And there is contact, no doubt about that.
It's a penalty, should have been a penalty. And I felt, bearing in mind that he'd had to turn down 2 heated appeals in the first half, I thought the next one he'd give. And actually, that for me is a penalty.
Big let-off for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And for Sol Campbell, who slipped initially. And Shaban didn't fancy that one at all either, and Seagon had to deal with it.
In all fairness to Campbell, he slipped, retrieved it, got back. But I actually thought there, the keeper should have been quicker reacting.
Rami Shaban, who made his debut just 2 weeks ago against PSV Eindhoven and then faced Spurs, still hasn't conceded a goal coming in here tonight before this man beat him. But Cassano is now going to give way to the current Italian international Vincenzo Montella. His goal is now just a memory. Montella, who played in that defeat against Wales last month, is the new partner for Francesco Totti. Immediately on the ball. Small, left-footed, quick, busy, skillful. Montella is here, caught by Vieira on the edge of the penalty area. Free kick. It was high from Vieira. A pretty unsightly challenge. No card.
pendulum's just swinging again now, isn't it? After Arsenal had dominated all the play, without, in all fairness, Clive, apart from a scratchy header, without really making an attempt on goal. I think I've not seen Arsenal as, they haven't been as potent tonight as they normally are.
Dealt with the initial free kick. Not as far as Guigu. Samuel. That's a terrific pass. Emerson. Luzhny made the challenge. It will be another corner. Roma pressure building. Panucci is in there. Samuel is in there. Towards Totti. It's cleared by Thierry Henry. Did some good work defensively on the near post tonight, Henry. It's still a problem though because Totti is on the ball and onside. Well, he was looking to buy the challenge from Ljungberg, but it was from behind. Does make the most of them.
He is so precious, isn't he? I'll tell you what, it's a
lovely description, that, Ron. That's exactly what he is. He's good and he knows it. Gilberto.
Well, I'm a bit like you on that, Clive. I'm not so sure. I've seen far better what they call fantasy players in Italy than this guy. I mean, he's a good player, but I'm not quite sure he quite lives up to the billing he gets.
In Italy, they felt he was their star of Euro 2000.
I thought he was ordinary.
In and
I
out,
really did.
and
we saw him playing a lot of games.
Didn't score a goal at the last World Cup finals.
He's certainly, I mean, when you compare him with somebody like Baggio, for many years was the hero, wasn't he, of Italian football. He's nowhere near that sort of category for me. But he is still a good player and one you have to look out for.
Vincent Condola. Roma enjoying a good spell, and here's Totti looking for another free kick. And it's gone the other way. I think this referee sussed him, and he'll book him if he carries on doing that.
I mean, if he's going to have the ball played into feet, he's going to accept the fact that people are going to pressurize him from the back. But he does. Oh, he does do your head in the way he goes down. But I mean, when Sigan cleared that one off the line from him, he showed him tremendous skill. I mean, he was definitely unlucky there, but the control and the power and the instant skill. I'd be far happier. I'm sure Arsene Wenger would be far happier if he stuck to that and made that his part of his game we want to see.
Midpoint in the second half. Both of the goals in the opening 6 minutes of the first half. Cassano for Roma, equalised by Henry for Arsenal. Totti had that shot, turned miraculously off the line in the first half. Shabana's been fortunate not to concede a penalty in this second. Henry cleverly into the path of Wiltor. We skipped away from Samuel. Condola has caught up with him.
Oh, great defending that, Condola. Cool, because Wiltor was starting to travel there.
Given away now by Condola. 0-0. Henry's cross. And headed behind by Zabina. Arsenal will have a corner. The moment.
Yeah, for me, you know, if they win the tournament, Arsenal go the distance and win the tournament, that might be as big a moment in the whole competition as they will have.
Perez with a corner, put away by Emerson, hit by Henry with freedom. Perez. Luzhny.
He is an absolute one-man attack, isn't he?
He rode his luck a little bit there. The ball fell kindly for him, but he quickly gobbled up
his 24th Champions League goal. 2 at Eindhoven, 1 at Dortmund, 2 in Rome. Thierry Henry is propelling Arsenal through the phases.
It's slow to react, but certainly this lad reacts like lightning there.
I'm not sure he's ever headed to go for Arsenal. For one terrible moment, I thought he was going to break that duck, but it fell kindly off Panucci, and he smashed it beyond Antonioli. And his goal-scoring record in Europe for Arsenal is better than one every other game. At the very, very highest level, Henry has proved himself a forward of the very, very highest calibre.
There's also that thing about him, sometimes they say that he's in again. I thought he's in again for his hat-trick.
It might come here yet from Cole's cross.
Oh, should have had more quality. He got time and space there. He could have done better with that Ashley goal. The thing that's often said about Thierry Henry is that for a top-line striker, he does miss a lot of chances. He's had 2 tonight, taking them both excellently. I mean, that's it. All right, you can say, should the defender have got across quicker? Should Cafu have got his foot in? Whatever. But you give the Frenchman credit, Thierry Henry. Great reactions.
For the first time tonight, Arsenal are in front. And they have a free kick.
And a very unusual goal for Arsenal, isn't it? We usually talk about Arsenal either scoring great... Oh, have I seen him warming up?
Batistuta.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, they say he's finished, but every time we ever see him play, he always seems to produce something special. I mean, we always look at Arsenal as scoring perfect goals, and they don't very often score what we call fighting goals, and that was really a fighting goal for them. Contested the ball in the end, had the presence of mind to react.
A poacher's goal by Thierry Henry has given Arsenal the advantage. Henry here providing the free kick.
That's a great ball in, actually.
Turned away by Samuel, and then by Condola, and then by Lima, and struck first time by Gilberto Silva.
In actual fact, Henry's played that free kick to where... Oh, high, wide and handsome. But he's played the first free kick to where anybody that wants to come up for a corner, a big centre-half or whatever, would love the ball to be.
Francisco Lima, the Brazilian midfield player, is being sacrificed so that Gabriel Batistuta, who has been on the fringe of the Roma team this season, but 3 of his 4 goals for them have come from the substitutes bench, can emerge to try to torment Arsenal again, as he did at Wembley 3 years ago with a dramatic goal for Fiorentina in this competition. 33 years of age now, Gabriel Batistuta.
Just wonder whether that'll affect Totti's position at all. Well, he'll go into his natural position. Doesn't look as if he is.
Here is Batistuta. Clever back heel to Cafu. Good save by Chaban. It's the first he's made tonight. Batistuta having an immediate impact, and not maybe quite of the kind you would have imagined. A chance to break here with Henry and Wiltor in tandem. It's Thierry Henry again. Looking to play Wiltor in, who was impeded by Emerson as he raced to the edge of the penalty area. Free kick has been given. Card is coming out for the Brazilian.
But that's a great layoff, a great first start. It actually looks as if there's a little defensive block on that.
Emerson carded.
And what price? I mean, it's a pretty safe bet that Henry's going to hit this one. It's his area, it's his side of the field. What price? A hat-trick. And how priceless that could be for Arsenal. Campbell looks as if he's just got enough on that to take the sting out of it.
Wiltor has recovered. Henry and Pires are the 2 candidates. It is Thierry Henry. It's a hat-trick! A brilliant Champions League hat-trick for Thierry Henry. A wonderful free kick to round it off and surely give Arsenal the perfect start to the second phase of this season's competition.
You begin to wonder if there's anything this fella can't do. I mean, that is a phenomenal top area. Keeping no chance. Oh, that is beautiful.
3-1 to Arsenal, just Over 15 minutes left to play. But Thierry Henry has put them in a winning position here.
Wasn't it the same player who apparently couldn't hack it in Italy at one stage of his career?
And there are only 3 players now in the history of this competition who scored more Champions League goals than Thierry Henry: Raul, Del Piero and Kluivert. Montella. Clearance by Seagull. Vieira. And there's just confidence flowing through the veins of every Arsenal player now. Pires maybe a little overconfident, trying to play Wiltord in.
I think the thing now is to try and keep the ball for as long as they can, because, and you can never say for sure in a football match, but if they can just deny Roma any momentum for the next 5 minutes or so, just playing the break themselves. So Seagon's gone up the left wing now. Get back, son. Your job's to look after the lead.
Meanwhile, Pires seeks out Henry again, and rather nervously steered back by Samuel. Cafu. Cross was deflected. Here's Totti, who miscued. Montella trying to keep the move alive. Back in by Emerson. Flag is up against Condola. Later score from St James's Park. It is now Newcastle United 1, Inter Milan 3. Nobby Solano has pulled a goal back for Newcastle. Foul by Emerson.
Just looking at some of the Arsenal players, you know, the likes of the big fella there, Vieira, and we mentioned earlier about Gilberto. It must be marvellous to know if you keep digging and digging and digging, no matter what the state, so long as you're not losing the game, there's always a chance that the fellow up front's going to nick something for you, and that's exactly what he's done tonight.
Robert Pires has had a very impressive match for Arsenal tonight.
Nearly back, isn't he? Nearly back to his best.
He's going to get a rest for these last 12 minutes and allow Gio Van Bronckhorst, just back from long-term injury himself, to get a run out. Fabio Capello's compliment that Arsenal are the strongest team in Europe before the match is starting now to carry some credence. Double helping of Premiership football coming your way on ITV1 this weekend on Saturday at the usual time of 10:30. Arsenal themselves in action against improving Aston Villa. And then an extra show on Sunday at 6:30 on ITV1, featuring highlights of Liverpool versus Manchester United. Just offside, was he? Well, maybe not. Ball was overhit as it happens. That's a wild challenge on Gilberto. And the referee reaching in his top pocket for Gabriel Batistuta to have his name added to the list of sinners. Oof, wasn't pleasant.
Should have been sent off. It's a bad enough challenge to be sent off for that. Don't like to see players of his ilk and his stature doing that sort of silly thing.
He's always said that he'd like to play in England one day, but the current story doing the rounds here is that he's bound for Japan to finish his career in Yokohama.
We nearly finished ours there, didn't we?
Seagull. Vieira trying to help it on. And talking of transfer rumours, the big rumour around Rome in the last couple of days is that they will make a renewed attempt to sign Leeds United's Olivier Dacour in January. Panucci with the free kick. Condola. Hooked in by Samuel. And Shaban eventually caught up with it. The Swedes quite enjoyed his night eventually.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the jury's still out on him, isn't it? I mean, it's hard for a goalkeeper. He'll need games, and you know full well as soon as Seaman's fit, he's going to be in the side.
This is Condola. Youngberger racing to catch up and get in a challenge. Guigou. Emerson. Tucked into the path of Cafu. Gilberto does seem to spot danger inside his own penalty area. Very quick to mop up. Vieira breaking the first challenge. Guigou has got it back though. On by Montella. Now Condola. Turned away by Luzhny. Well, for a team who couldn't win to save their lives away from home in Europe, Arsenal are staring at a possible third success of the season on the road. Samuel in towards Batistuta, dealt with though by Campbell. Condola. Guigou stepped away from Gilberto this time. Tidied up by Vieira instead. And played very calmly, out of trouble, almost too much so. Vieira's pass didn't give Henry a great chance. Samuel. Arsenal have rather invited this pressure, and Condola is unmarked. Just over the head of Totti. Seagull helps it on his way. Cafu, though. Seagull away once more, and this time Wiltor can make it stick and set up a counter. And inevitably Henry is involved. And he has Van Bronckhorst and Wiltor and Vieira up with him. Henry orchestrating the counter. Finding Wiltor. Arsenal running down the clock well. Wiltor, a little trick.
Having a look, I've been watching Freddie Youngberg over the last few minutes, Clive, and he looks as if he shot his bolt. See Keown's warming up. I just wonder, obviously that's to hang on to what we hold, but just looking at Youngberg, he looks really as if he's running from memory at the moment.
Holding up Montella, no more. Emerson clipped into the path of Cafu. Seagull away. One of his best games for Arsenal tonight, Pascal Seagull. Emerson. Cafu being held up by Van Bronckhorst.
Yeah, talk about big moments in the game. You know, you wonder how important that save. I mean, it was a phenomenal piece of defending. It kept the scoreline at 1 each when he cleared the one off the line from Totti, and also the penalty appeal, I think, was a massive moment in the match.
Martin Keown played 2/3 of a reserve team game at Barnet on Monday. His first football for 2 months, recovering from a hamstring injury which he suffered in this competition in Eindhoven, but he replaces Sylvain Wiltor for the last 6 minutes here. Rather unusually, Arsenal will play with three-man defence for these closing moments.
Yeah, it's not a back tactic now. They've gone 4 men in midfield, three at still keeping the 2 defenders, but they're still going to have a 4-man midfield. And Henry is a 1-man forward line anyway.
Guigou. Emerson. Condola. Guigu. They've got to keep their concentration here. Guigu in towards Montella. A Roma goal, even at this stage, would make the last few minutes very taxing. But Henry is countering, and Arsenal can break here with Gilberto Silva. Henry again. Looking to run Zabina, but the ball is out of play. Another goal at St James's Park. It is now Newcastle United 1, Inter Milan 4. Rakoba has added a goal there inside the last 10 minutes. Newcastle United 1, Inter Milan 4. Last 5 minutes in Rome. Thierry Henry's hat-trick. As Arsenal hovering on the verge of a famous victory here. Offside flag helping their cause, but they have possession, and the Slovakian referee is happy for them to continue. And so are they. Vieira. They have had a couple of dicey moments to survive, but this is the Olympic Stadium in Rome. This is Roma, champions of Italy 2 seasons ago, runners-up last year. And generally, Arsenal have played with great assurance on this stage. In front of a hostile audience. And against some very, very good players.
Well, they played with a great belief tonight. Not always as swashbuckling as we see them from time to time, but the tactics have been spot on for a European game. And when you've got somebody like, I mean, we're talking about Batistuta at one end being probably as good a striker as they've ever had in Italian football, and yet the lad at the other end, Henry, with a hat-trick tonight, looking a sort of natural successor to him.
Emerson. Panucci. Guigu.
Look at that.
Henry it is who's chasing back.
You mentioned earlier in it about one or two things he cleared off defensively, near post corners and all that. You know, that's great team play. He never ceases to surprise you, this fella.
That's a bad foul on Gilberto by Batistuta, who has already been yellow carded. And he actually had a grab there at Gilberto, and he's very fortunate still to be on the field, Gabriel Batistuta.
Stop it, my son. Stop it. You're too good a player for it. You've been too great a player to get involved in that nonsense.
Youngberg charging forward. He's unable to control the ball as it dropped over his shoulder. Cafu. He was impeded there by Seagull as he tried to go on.
That's just where he has a problem there, Pascal Seagon. He's very good when he's fronting there, but he does have a problem when people move the ball on him quickly. Distinct, or a slight lack of pace anyway.
Played Champions League football last season for Lille against the likes of Van Nistelrooy and Diego Tristan, so...
Oh, we were quite impressed with him. And what was the other boy's name? Eke?
Cafu in towards the head of Zabina. Kondala. He's crying out to be hit, and he couldn't resist it, and he couldn't control it, and now he's having some shenanigans with Martin Keown, who's picking a fight with Totti.
I think Totti can thank his lucky stars Martin wasn't on early.
Now, how about this for a later score? In this group, Valencia 0, Ajax 1. Valencia, who come to Highbury in a fortnight's time, who would be the favourites to win this group, trailing at home to Ajax. At the moment, it's a perfect night for Arsenal. Emerson's pass, seeking out Cafu, headed away by Cole. Not even Vieira's telescopic leg can control that. Guigu bringing Roma forward. There will be 3 added minutes. Condola. Tackled by Luzhny. Vieira to Henry. Now Ljungberg. Henry is on the move again. Cut out by Samuel, but he doesn't prevent the ball from reaching the man of the night. Ljungberg looking long because Van Bronckhorst was in space, but he just lost his standing foot as he tried to play it. Incredibly, in their fourth home game of the competition, Roma look set once more to finish without a home win. Condola forcing a mistake from Ljungberg. Guigu. Headed on by Totti, turned away by Luzhny. Gilberto. Vieira resisting the attentions of Emerson. Henry. Ljungberg. Henry again. Spinning away from one challenge, stepping away from the next, and eventually brought down by Zabina. Did play in Italian football for 7 months with Juventus at the start of 1999, played mainly wide out on the right during that spell. Edu is going to replace Freddie Ljungberg for the last few moments. But Arsenal happy to keep the ball and keep control. Vieira expecting Edu to go on. It is the kind of result which will raise eyebrows all around Europe. Totti looking to play Montella in, and a terrific challenge coming in from Martin Keown, who's quickly back to his sharpest best.
You didn't have to look, did you? You knew exactly who made that challenge. That would be Keown, doing what he's good at.
But given they have had a couple of breaks, Ron, is this the performance of a team which are moving into genuine contention now for this competition?
Yes, because they haven't been as free. You know, we talked about the possession. All right, they've had a lot of midfield possession, but they hadn't had the usual cutting possession that you look for from Arsenal. But they've shown a lot of courage, a lot of grit. They've ground out when they've had to grind out, and then they have played people like the man of the match up front, you know, an out-and-out match winner that can win any game in Europe. So yeah, they have got genuine qualifications.
They played with confidence and cohesion in Roma's own backyard and gained a sensational result here with a sensational contribution from Thierry Henry. He scored all 3 Arsenal goals to bring Arsene Wenger the perfect start at the expense of the legendary Fabio Capello. Arsenal have won by 3-1 in Rome.
And I can tell you the other game going on in Group B is still going on at the moment. Valencia have equalised. It's Valencia 1, Ajax 1. But the good news for Arsenal is they've got off their second group phase with a victory. Thanks to Thierry Henry. He's become the... Can you name the other 3? Well, we'll tell you when we come back.
It's a Saturday.
On the Ball is just the start of the football coming your way on ITV today.
I see this as a perfect marriage.
A bit mad. But that is the Premiership. Goals raining in all over the place.
Very nice with cheese.
Liverpool and Man United, I think, will be right in there.
We'll all be just a little bit wiser.
The fastest and most comprehensive scoreline service on the box.
And it's definitely hotting up.
Well, I think discipline might be a problem.
Away you go, attack.
He's like a speedboat with no driver, Darren Appleby.
No, he is, because I've never heard that one before myself.
It's a good one.
You can only be satisfied.
2 top players for Newcastle.
Well, there was plenty to talk about, and you've talked about it plenty.
All to look forward to on Saturday, but we've had quite a treat tonight. Arsenal have beaten Roma by 3-1 in the Olympic Stadium in Rome, only their second ever victory on Italian soil, the last one some 12 years ago. And Valencia and Ajax have drawn 1 apiece tonight. Just to remind you, Valencia are the visitors to Highbury in a fortnight's time. That was quite a special performance, would you say, Graham?
Yeah, extra special and very well deserved. Very well earned. I mean, as far as we were concerned at the start, we could see them getting a draw. They've even done better than that and thoroughly deserved. They controlled the second half.
How do you rate it, Clive?
I thought it was an excellent. I think it just shows, I said beforehand, I felt it was going to be, we'll see a barometer of where Arsenal are, what they've learned with their Champions League campaign over the last few years. And I think it all came to fruition. It was a tough game, but at times they made it look easy because they controlled the game. And they have, in my opinion, the best centre forward in the world at the moment.
Well, he scored a hat-trick tonight and he became the 4th English player to do so. The other, the 4th player for an English side, should I say. The other 3 were Mike Newell.
He did a quick response after the early Roma goal. And Thierry, it's a favoured position of his. He pulls out and then it was a clinical finish. He gets his second and look at the way he's onto it very quickly. Cafu couldn't react and a wonderful strike through the keeper's legs. And a man who's absolutely red hot at the moment.
Hit that corner so red that's playing him in the future has to be aware of that.
Well, let's have a look at some of his free kicks. I mean, we picked out 3 sensational kicks in the Champions League. This is tonight.
As well.
The thing is, Angus...
This is Borussia Dortmund earlier on.
It's not something that's a fluke, it's something he practices. The goalkeepers, in nearly all of these, you see, are left flat-footed. They know he may well go there.
Juventus last year.
They can't afford to come too far to the right because he will put it back in the other side as well. But it's the accuracy and the quality in which he delivers it.
And the pace.
Fantastic.
I mean, what he's got an ability to lift it and get it down at pace, and that in itself is very, very difficult then for a keeper to get across. There is an argument, do you start to think about getting somebody on that post all of the time, even if they push you back in, because he's hitting it so regularly. Whenever he gets a free kick, there's a chance of him putting it straight in the back of the net.
We must remind you, actually, that Michael Owen has actually got a hat-trick this season, so it is some 5 players for English sides that have scored this season. Now, what about the penalty appeal for Roma? When it was 1-1 at the time and Guigu was through, was it a penalty for you?
No, I didn't think it was.
Ron seemed to think it was, but...
Yeah, I think at full speed there was a doubt about whether Sol Campbell handballed it, but Shaban, as he points quickly, actually plays the ball with his right boot. It's towed there, and there's Shaban kicking the ball away. That was good goalkeeping. Obviously, the momentum of the player took him into Shaban and he went over, but I thought that was a very brave and honest decision by the referee.
Is it... Sorry,
I thought it was a very good decision. Probably just see it on the picture. He breaks away the referee to get an angle of it. And actually, if you look at the Roma player when he gets up, he's not over-appealing. He's just a little bit quizzical about it. Is he going to give me one?
Which is why
he knows it's a corner.
He didn't get the decision. OK, we'll have highlights from Newcastle coming up and reaction from the Arsenal camp. But first, let's go over to the newsroom with Layla again.
Thanks very much, Angus. Well, for the first time today, Gordon Brown, the Iron Chancellor, admitted he had got his sums wrong on the budget. Britain's economy, he said, was not going as well as he had predicted. That could mean interest rate rises. It could also mean taxes go up. But what is certain is that the government will now have to borrow £20 billion this year. That's almost double what the Chancellor announced in the spring. There was a surprise development in the fire strike today. The unions and employers said they will be meeting for more talks on Friday, but hopes of a breakthrough are still slim. And it sounds like the stuff of science fiction or Hollywood, transplanting another person's face onto your own. But plastic surgeons here say it could be a reality in less than 2 years. Experts say it's good news for people who have been badly scarred. That's it from me. John Suchet will be here with all the latest in the ITV News at 10. But for now, back to Angus.
Layla, thanks very much indeed. Next, we're off to the northeast to see highlights of Newcastle United against Inter Milan. Well, We'll be hearing from Thierry Henry in just a moment, but first on to Group A, when Newcastle United were facing Inter Milan in their opening tie. Commentary comes from David Pleat, and first, Peter Drury.
Okan of Turkey. Zanetti has got away from his full-back and has delivered, and Crespo let it go, and Newcastle are behind to Morfeo after 65 seconds.
The linesman's drawn attention to a clash between Bellamy and I think it was Materazzi. I think we would refer to it in England as a little bit of handbags, but oh, he's given the red card to Bellamy. Dear me.
Craig Bellamy has been sent off. Shearer with Cannavaro, Davies is forward, O'Brien's forward, Solano's lifted it in. There's a lot of pushing and shoving inside the box. The inference is that Cannavaro perhaps went down without being helped by Shearer. He was helped on his way down by Shearer. Newcastle's evening is in the hands, the pocket and the notebook of Stefan Bray. He's chosen to take no further action. It's Emery's corner. Against the post! Was it from Almeida? Oh, what a hit! Matias Almeida with a fantastic goal for Inter Milan. Oh, Okan slipped too easily away from the fullback, and Okan plays it in, and Inter lead 3-0. It is, of course, Hernan Crespo. And Shearer poised again. Roberto Solano delivering again. Oh, it's a good stop, clawed away by Toldo from Davies again. He remains an aerial threat. Solano drifts it in. Oh, it's Shearer, it's over. Lovely from Robert. Solano's in for Newcastle and scores. Maybe. It's a goal they've certainly merited. Shearer. Now what if they scored again? Oh, he's got away from Cannavaro. Shearer. Solano. Dalma, who's dribbling to good effect as well. And is instantly involved. Recoba. Oh! He is a star. He'd been on the field for 10 seconds, and he has snuffed out any little glimmering flame of hope there was for Newcastle with a super goal.
Well,
there was for Newcastle with a super goal.
Well,
Well, there we go. Well, that's how it ended. Newcastle United 1, Inter Milan 4 was the final score, and Barcelona came from behind to beat Bayer Leverkusen by 2-1. That means they continue their perfect run in the competition so far. They've played 7 games now and won every single one of them. Of course, you can see extended highlights of Newcastle against Inter and the Roma-Arsenal game on ITV1 at 5 to 11 later on this evening. Well, Newcastle have got an uphill task. They probably won't mind that. They had an uphill task in the first group phase, but you just think it's going to be a little bit more difficult this time round.
This is up.
Mountainous now.
We've seen some tremendous football in both games, and Milan there, you know, were extremely good. But I think there's one thing, in 2 of the goals there, the Newcastle defenders dived in. Now, that's a sin at any time, but at this level, you've got to stay on your feet. If you go to ground, you must win the ball. And on 2 occasions, they didn't do that, and they suffered the consequences.
And they suffered, really, because Craig Bellamy got sent off.
Well, it was a difficult encounter anyway, 11 against 11, and this young man is a real talent. He was definitely intimidated by Materazzi. We see a slight right-handed slap, I would call it, from there. But Bellamy's reaction, he strikes out, and whereas Bellamy stayed on his feet and there was retribution, he knows immediately that that is disastrous. It's violent conduct once again. He's already had a 3-match ban earlier in the competition, and even his captain was getting frustrated. You know, close attentions. he swung a left arm and was very fortunate. The referee actually saw it and was lenient, I feel, on that occasion.
Where does it leave Craig Bellamy, do you think, Graham?
A very lonely man tonight. I had no doubt about that as well.
As he went off, Bobby Robson was putting an arm around him. I mean,
yeah, I think
it's a difficult role for a manager now, though, isn't it?
It's a difficult role for him because Bobby will have seen, and Bobby is aware, and he'll be telling Craig Bellamy there is no way that you can do what you've done. But having said that, and I say it again, if Bellamy had fallen down at the time that he was hit, we would have seen the Italian player going off the pitch. Now, we tend to stay on our feet.
Let's see what Sir Bobby Robson thought of all that. He's now talking to Ian Payne.
Second half, and indeed some of the spasms of play in the first half, I just thought we were magnificent. We matched them. We're very much in the game. We made the goalkeeper work. We got through with them. We always want one man short. We lost one of our, match winners. After 10 minutes, Alan Shearer doesn't have a player to play alongside him. He can't flick it on for anybody. We haven't got a second ball through the middle of the pitch when we get possession. Everything's got to be into Alan. We had no second alternative, and we struggled on that. Without that, but we coped, and we give them a great game in the second half. We were better than they were second half. We got to 3-1, and you think, well, can I get to 3-2? Never thought we could win it, but as long as we came out of it with, heads held high, and we could look at the public, and we've done that. And of course, at the end, they bring on Recoba and Dalmat, two fantastic players, and their combination play and the great shot by Recoba killed us with 4-1.
He's still got that enthusiasm, but I mean, they did have the better of the second half. That shows a little bit of spirit, but obviously that ain't good enough at this level. Well,
no, but he's absolutely right when he says when you've lost somebody like Bellamy, and what a great foil that is to have Shearer, him alongside Shearer. When you lose that, then you've lost a great part of your attacking play. And that's why young Bellamy, whatever I say about him in his defence, tonight will be looking at himself and will be very, very disappointed as to how he reacted, because he has to learn, and he has to learn not only for himself, but for the benefit of his team. And playing at this level against European teams, you cannot keep falling for that three-card trick.
And when you lose your options, there's very little you can do, as Sir Bobby said.
Yeah, I think we talk about it being a learning curve for Newcastle. They started poorly in the first phase, 3 games, 3 defeats. They didn't score a goal. They responded in the best sort of way. I think that they're also starting to learn exactly what's needed at this level. But when you make mistakes, you are punished heavily. That is the biggest difference, even from playing in the Premiership week in, week out. So Bobby will have emphasised that to the team tonight. But they still have a chance. Don't write them off. That's the last thing we should do.
It doesn't get any easier. Let's have a look at the fixtures that they've got to come. OK, now they now go and play Barcelona, away, who've won every single game in the competition. Then it's, back-to-back against Bayer Leverkusen, and then finish it off with a bit of Inter again and Barcelona. So,
but they wouldn't have been here a few weeks ago. No one expected them to be in this position playing against this type of opposition. I think it's a fantastic achievement for Sir Bobby's team, for the club, and all about their young players developing, which they will playing at this level.
Well, apologies for not being able to bring you the Thierry Henry interview at the moment. We are having some technical difficulties, but we will talk about Arsenal and look at that performance again. And where do you think that puts them? They want to stamp their authority in Europe. That's Arsene Wenger's aim this week. This year, and what sort of a message will that have sent out to the rest of Europe?
Well, first of all, they sent out a very good message in the first phase by how they dealt with that first phase, and they come into their first game away at Roma. Yes, Roma's not been doing too well, and they haven't really been having much success at home. But to come and beat them 3-1 in the manner they did, that sends a message right through the rest of to the rest of the teams in this competition, and a message that don't mess about with Arsenal.
They've had some big wins away from home, very impressive. 4-0 and now 3-1 again tonight.
Well, I think that again is something that they've learned over the last couple of seasons, and it's cost them dearly that they haven't had the away form that was necessary. They put that right at the onset of the competition. They went away, they've scored goals, and lots of goals away from home. And I think the confidence that's running throughout the team, and they've proved that tonight. What a difficult task. A Roma side, as Graham says, not necessarily on their top form at the moment, but very difficult to go and get the type of result that Arsenal have done so.
And if they carry on winning, Graham, they do what they did in their first group, didn't they? They get off to that great start and ease the pressure.
They're good starters, both in individual games and also as well, you know, they keep it going. And they had this defeat at Southampton.
Exactly,
you know,
at the
lifts them
weekend.
back up in the... What I would say as well, because a lot talks about their disciplinary record, look at it in the European Champions League this season. It's excellent. And that actually is a very, very important part. It's something that Craig Bellamy will learn as well from that, and Arsenal have learned from that.
Graham, Clive, thank you both very much indeed. Well, tonight belongs to Thierry Henry, who joins the Champions League elite, and Arsenal proved Fabio Capello was right. Tonight they were the best in Europe. From us all, good night.
This program was sponsored by Amstel and PlayStation 2, UEFA Champions League sponsors.